Welcome to About Mansfield, your audio newspaper. I'm Marilyn Hyder, filling in for the vacationing Steve Casillo with the April 17th, 2024, 218th edition. Colleen Daniel is in Studio West, and we're here with the About Mansfield news team. Coming up, as Steve would say, it's Mansfield news, talk, and information.
And a little later in the episode, you will have a chance to win a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice with our Mansfield Trivia Question, courtesy of Joe Jenkins Insurance. Let's take a look at the stories we're covering this week. Inconclusive changed to ineligible. Mansfield man waited 2 hours before calling 911 after daughter ingested fentanyl-laced pills.
And in happier news, upgrades are coming to the Mansfield Dog Park with Phase 2 construction.
And in the talk segment, Steve talks about a local nonprofit with our dear friend Dennis Webb. We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. This is About Mansfield.
Hey there, it's Luke from Cool Hand Electric. Are you tired of dealing with plugs or lights that just won't cooperate? Well, don't fret. Give us a call. Worried about power outages or surges damaging your precious electronics? We've got you covered. Whether it's a whole house generator or surge protection, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are ready to tailor the perfect option that suits your needs and budget. At Cool Hand Electric, excellence is still cool.
Cool Hand, Cool Hand, Cool Hand, where excellence is still cool.
This is Paul Duncan with Trinity Solar Services. That's right, solar. Back in the 1960s, NASA used solar cells in their space missions. But get this, the very first solar cells were actually invented back in 1883. Solar energy has made great strides over the past 140 years, but one theme remains constant: solar works. Solar panels are the MVPs of renewable energy. While reducing carbon emissions and taking a stand against climate change, solar panels can also help to greatly reduce your electric bill. Trinity Solar Services is your sun-powered solutions, and we want to deck out your home with top-notch Tier 1 panels without breaking the bank. Reach out to us today for a complimentary quote. Trinity Solar Services is a Mansfield-based company that's all about building relationships through good old-fashioned, family-owned business values. Find us online at trinitysolarservices.com. That's trinitysolarservices.com.
Are you ready to take advantage of falling mortgage interest rates in the coming months? This is Roger with the Roger and Beth team. With housing demand predicted to increase across the DFW Metroplex, the Roger and Beth team are standing by to help move you and your family forward. No move in your future? That's okay too. It's time for your annual review of your real estate portfolio, and we're happy to help. Contact us at homesinmansfield.com. That's homesinmansfield.com.
Welcome back to About Mansfield. This portion of the news is brought to you by the Grandview Event Center in Mansfield.
Hi, I'm Olympian athlete Jasmine Moore, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
In an unprecedented move, the Mansfield ISD School Board of Trustees announced on Thursday morning that they now have enough evidence to declare Place 2 school board candidate Dr. Angel Hidalgo ineligible.
Based upon a review of public documents, the Texas Election Code, and the Texas Government Code, we have been informed that a certification has been made based on public documents that candidate Hidalgo is ineligible to run for the Mansfield ISD Board of Trustees in the May 4, 2024 election.
That's School Board President Courtney Lackey Wilson. Even though ineligible, Dr. Hidalgo's name will remain on the May 4th ballot, leading to the question, what happens if he wins?
If Dr. Hidalgo is declared the winner, then a vacancy in that position will be declared. The board members may then fill the vacancy by appointment until the next trustee election, or may order a special election to fill the vacancy.
Dr. Hidalgo has not given up his campaign, as he was present at noon and evening candidates forums hosted by the Chamber of Commerce and Mansfield Matters, respectively.
In the meantime, Colleen, Place 2 candidate Dr. Jandel Crutchfield said the campaign work isn't over now that our ineligible opponent will remain on the ballot.
I thought folks better get out to vote starting April 22nd for me as the only eligible and qualified candidate in the race. And just thinking about, again, I've served as an election judge in Tarrant County, how precious the voting process is, right? And so for people's votes to be able to count towards somebody that's actually eligible to participate.
Incidentally, About Mansfield posted an open invitation on social media on Friday for Dr. Hidalgo's supporters to call the podcast listener line and express why he is the best candidate of choice. As of this recording on Monday, no one is called. Early voting runs through April 30th, and Election Day is May 4th.
A heartbreaking tale unfolds as investigators reveal that a Mansfield man delayed calling the police for 2 hours after his 2-year-old daughter ingested fentanyl-laced pills. Nevaeh Reed lost her life in February a year ago under circumstances that are still under investigation. Her father, Michael Reed, faces charges of knowingly causing serious harm to a child, while his sister, Jamie Popovich, is also charged with child endangerment. Responding to a call on February 18th, Mansfield police found Nevaeh unresponsive in her home on Town Crossing Boulevard. Despite efforts by paramedics, she was declared brain dead on February 28th. An investigation uncovered drugs in the apartment, including fentanyl-laced pills near where Nevaeh was found. It was revealed that Michael Reed delayed calling 911, resorting instead to internet searches on how to induce vomiting and attempting to procure Narcan, a medicine that rapidly reverses an opioid overdose. Nevaeh's mother, Stephanie Wallace, questioned why Reed hesitated, lamenting the loss of her vibrant child. Both Reed and Popovich have been released on bond.
The Mansfield Parks and Rec Department announced last week that some exciting upgrades are coming later this year at Mans Bestfield Dog Park. Phase 2 improvements include agility equipment, a rentable pavilion, and a natural water feature, as well as a trail to connect to a planned expansion of the Walnut Creek Linear Trail. The 7-acre, 4-paddock dog park is located at 610 West Broad Street and open every day except Tuesdays.
We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. I'm Colleen Daniel, and this is About Mansfield.
Are you ready to create unforgettable memories? Picture this, an enchanting event venue nestled amidst breathtaking landscapes with panoramic views right here in Mansfield. The Grandview Event Center is the perfect setting to bring your vision to life. From intimate gatherings to large-scale extravaganzas, the Grandview has flexible spaces to accommodate any occasion, be it a graduation or school function, art exhibition, or birthday or anniversary party. Book your next unforgettable experience at thegrandviewmansfield.com. That's thegrandviewmansfield.com. The Grandview Event Center, where memories are made and dreams become reality. Book your event today.
I'm Philip Washington, Chief Investment Officer of Stonehill Wealth Management and host of the Wealth Building Made Simple podcast. First book I read in college was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it changed my life. And since then, I've read tons and tons of books on money. And what I've done is taken those lessons, simplified them, and I talk about those lessons on my podcast, Wealth Building Made Simple. So come hang out with us. We're on every major platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube. Wealth Building Made Simple.
If you have a comment about the show, the news, or whatever's on your mind locally, you can reach us by voicemail at 817-435-2938. That voicemail number again is 817-435-2938. One quick program announcement that you should know about. The About Mansfield School Board candidate interviews are now available on our website. Visit aboutmansfield.com and spend 30 minutes with each of the candidates. Again, go to aboutmansfield.com and at the top of the page, click on School Board Interviews. This Thursday, April 25th, is National Telephone Day, which coincides with the anniversary of the day Alexander Graham Bell introduced his electric speaking machine. The day is a time to reflect on the telephone's evolution and the connecting power of the phone in personal and work lives. We've come a long way since Alexander Graham Bell first shouted, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you," down a telephone line in 1876. Fast forward to today, where nearly everyone and their grandma owns a smartphone. A whopping 270 million American adults are swiping, tapping, and scrolling away on their trusty handheld companions. That's roughly 81% of the country. Here are a couple of current-day fun facts. On average, Americans check their phones nearly 100 times a day. That's every 10 to 12 minutes, your average Joe or Jane is sneaking a peek at their screen. And they're touching those screens over 2,600 times a day. Remember when TVs ruled the roost? Not anymore. Smartphones are stealing the spotlight, with 70% of the digital media time in the U.S. spent glued to those tiny screens. So this Thursday, grab your smartphone, dial up a loved one, and celebrate National Telephone Day the old school way, by talking with each other. After all, who doesn't love a good old-fashioned chat?
Coming up after the break, we turn the page to the features section.
We're tackling the ins and outs of ACL injuries, cutting-edge surgical treatments, and game-changing recovery strategies. I'm Angel Biasatti, and you'll hear more with Methodist Mansfield News to Know.
Have you heard of payment shock? I'm Beth Steinke, and today I'm going to define it and explain how to protect yourself from it on the Mansfield Real Estate Report.
In this week's Cocktail of the Week, I'll be talking about a cocktail that is a ginger and rum tempestuous tango.
We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. I'm Colleen Daniel, and this is About Mansfield.
This portion of the news was brought to you by the Grandview Event Center in Mansfield.
Hey there, it's Luke from Cool Hand Electric. Are you tired of dealing with plugs or lights that just won't cooperate? Well, don't fret. Give us a call. Worried about power outages or surges damaging your precious electronics? We've got you covered. Whether it's a whole house generator or surge protection, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are ready to tailor the perfect option that suits your needs and budget. At Cool Hand Electric, excellence is still cool.
Cool hand, cool hand, cool hand, where excellence is still cool.
At Methodist Mansfield Medical Center, we've been caring for our home team for over 15 years. Today, you'll find award-winning physicians on the medical staff, advanced neurosurgery, a Level 3 trauma center, critical care for newborns, and comprehensive orthopedic care. Methodist Mansfield, delivering the care our friends, neighbors, and home team depend on. That's community, and why so many people trust Methodist.
Congratulations to Cara Lee Wilson, who knew that Newsom Stadium opened in 2006 and seats exactly 11,134 football, soccer, and marching band fans. When we come back, this week's trivia question. This is About Mansfield.
Hey, it's Steve Casillo, and are you ready to make your voice heard? Want to bring out your ideas to life through captivating conversations and engaging visuals? Look no further than Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio, your one-stop destination for award-winning audio and video podcast recording. Equipped with cutting-edge microphones, crystal clear audio recording, and high-definition cameras, we're here to turn your ideas into engrossing content. But it's not just about the equipment. We're dedicated to bringing out the best in your content. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, we're here to elevate your podcasting game. We'll even help you with intro music, transitions, voiceover, and that professional polish that sets your podcast apart. So whether you're into interviews, storytelling, or simply sharing your expertise, Podcast Mansfield can help bring your podcasting dreams to life. Visit podcastmansfield.com. Podcast Mansfield, where creating your podcast masterpiece has never been easier.
Hi, this is Joe Jenkins with Joe Jenkins Farmers Insurance, specializing in auto, home, commercial, and life insurance. I was born and raised here in Mansfield, Texas. We're active in the community, and Mansfield's a town we really care about. Our office has over 30 years experience in the insurance industry, and we're passionate about what we do and about customer service. For a free quote, please visit our website at joejenkinsinsurance.com or give us a call at 817-472-6058. Once again, that website is joejenkinsinsurance.com.
It's time for the highly coveted, widely popular About Mansfield Trivia Question. The first person to email the correct answer to trivia@aboutmansfield.com will receive a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice, brought to you by Joe Jenkins Insurance. Whether you're looking for homeowners, auto, commercial, or another type of insurance, Joe has helped Mansfield area residents understand the insurance coverage that best fits their needs since 2010. You can find him on the internet at joejenkinsinsurance.com. And I've mentioned this before, not everyone wins on Wednesday, so if you're hearing this on Thursday, Friday, or whenever, give it a shot. You might be taking home a $25 restaurant gift card. Colleen, it's your turn.
Well, Marilyn, this week's trivia question has to do with robots, local robots, lots of local high school robots. Simply put, what is the name of the Ben Barber robotics team? Email your answer to trivia@aboutmansfield.com. Again, what is the name of the Ben Barber robotics team? Good luck, and thanks to Joe Jenkins Insurance for the gift card.
Hello, this is Mayor Michael Evans, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield, your audio newspaper. Let's open up the features section. Angel Biasatti is here with details on the ins and outs of ACL injuries in Methodist Mansfield. News to know. Angel?
We're tackling the ins and outs of ACL injuries, cutting-edge surgical treatments, and game-changing recovery strategies. Don't miss out on our Regional Sports Medicine Conference, happening May 6th from 6 to 8 at the MISD Center for the Performing Arts in Mansfield. This is a must-attend event of the year for anybody involved in sports medicine and athletic training. We've got a great lineup. Let's break down the conference with Dr. Sean Garf, sports medicine physician on staff at Methodist Mansfield Medical Center.
Thanks, Angel. We have a spectacular lineup for the Regional Sports Medicine Conference in May, focusing on ACL injuries. Our first speaker will be Dr. William Robertson, who is the lead head team physician for the Dallas Stars NHL Hockey Club and a seasoned TMI sports medicine orthopedic surgeon who will be diving deep into the playbook of ACL surgical advancements. He will also share his knowledge on the latest game-changing treatments. We will then have a TMI sports physical therapist demonstrate some of the latest exercises to help athletes recover from ACL injuries and get back onto the field or court faster. Get ready to level up your exercise program with Shane Trotter, the Director of Strength and Conditioning for Fort Worth Trinity Valley School. Shane's in the trenches every day, working with athletes to optimize performance. He'll be sharing his winning strategies and techniques for ACL recovery, helping athletes get back in the game stronger and faster than ever. Rounding out the lineup, I will be the defensive coordinator when it comes to ACL prevention. I will be breaking down key plays to help athletes dodge those dreaded ACL injuries. And then there's more. Participants can score big with 2 CEU credits for attending this power-packed event.
Thank you, Dr. Garf, for joining us today. Whether you're a coach drawing up game plans, a trainer on the sidelines, or a fan cheering from the stands, this conference is your ticket to the big leagues of ACL care. So huddle up, mark your calendars for May 6th at the MISD Center for the Performing Arts. This is your chance to join the winning team in ACL care and take your game to the next level. Register at methodisthealthsystem.org events. We can't wait to see you at the ACL Sports Conference. We're all about compassionate care, quality health care, and innovative treatments. Let's elevate sports medicine together in North Texas and beyond. I'm Angel Biasatti, reporting for the About Mansfield podcast.
Whether you're buying or selling, Realtor Beth Steinke has important information for you in the Mansfield Real Estate Market Update. Beth?
Every year, usually between February and April, your mortgage company does their annual review of your escrow account. As a quick review, your escrow account is where your mortgage company holds the tax and homeowner's insurance portion of your payment, so they can make the payments on your behalf when they are due. It's really important to pay attention to your mortgage statements during this time of year to make sure you didn't overlook a notice of a payment change. I received several calls recently from new homeowners that have had quite a surprise because their mortgage payments went up significantly to cover a shortage in the escrow. We can usually attribute it to one of two reasons. Either they have forgotten to file their homestead exemption, or their lender did not set up a large enough escrow payment at the time they wrote the loan. And the worst offender? New construction homes. So why does this happen? My prevailing theory is that some builders strongly encourage and financially incentivize the buyer to use their in-house lenders. And those lenders, in particular, tend to calculate the tax escrow based on unimproved land, making the payment seem particularly attractive to inexperienced homebuyers. In the first year, this seems fantastic as you make those lower monthly payments. But once the local tax assessor recalculates your property taxes based on the newly constructed home, there can be a significant increase in the tax assessment, leading to much higher mortgage payments. This sudden hike in payments is what we refer to as payment shock. This is so common that builders and their lenders will have those home buyers sign a document at closing that is literally called a payment shock letter. But all too often, buyers are so eager to get past all this paperwork stuff and into their brand new home that they don't remember the warnings to set additional monies aside each month. Understanding payment shock is crucial, especially for homeowners who have stretched their budget just to purchase their new home. Here are some steps to mitigate the impact of that payment shock. 1, research local tax rates. Before you make a purchase, understand the property tax rates in the area where you are considering buying. Local government websites often provide this information, or you can talk to your realtor. 2, request detailed estimates. Ask your builder, real estate agent, or lender for a detailed estimate of property taxes post-construction. They can often provide insights or historical data that might give you a clearer picture of what to expect. Number 3, budget for those increases. Set aside funds in anticipation of increased cost. This means planning your budget with the expectation that your mortgage payment could rise significantly after the first year. Number 4, escrow account adjustments. If you have an escrow account that handles those payments, keep in touch with that servicer. They can explain how to calculate escrow shortages and surpluses and what it means for your monthly payments. And I'll add a couple of additional notes here. When you receive the shortage notification, if you can at all swing it, go ahead and write the check for the shortage. Your payment will still go up to prevent another shortage next year, but it will be a lesser amount. If you aren't able to cover it and you're short again the following year, you can really find yourself in a financial mess with untenable payment amounts. And then second, make sure you speak to your mortgage company about your shortage. They may be able to spread out the shortage over some additional months and work with you to help make it a little less impactful. Number 5, homestead exemptions. Please make sure you filed for your homestead exemption. This will not only cap the amount your taxable value can go up, it will reduce your property tax burden in a meaningful way. I met with several really smart humans recently last year, and they were struggling with these mortgage payments that just kept going up and up and up. And after a bit of research, neither one of them had filed a homestead exemption. Good news, though. They were able to get a decent refund from the county once they did file. Number 6, don't go it alone. This is just one of 100 examples of why having someone to help you with your home purchase, whether new construction or resale, is important. Your realtor is a watchdog to help protect you and to keep you informed of potential pitfalls and challenges, and of course to celebrate with you when you reach your goals too. Now let's get to this week's Mansfield Real Estate Market Update. As of April 22nd, there are 159 available homes for sale in Mansfield, excluding new construction. Homes this week range from a $166,000 super fixer-upper with less than 900 square feet, all the way to a 5,600 square foot gorgeous home in the gated section of South Point at a mere $2.1 million. Only 12 homes sold last week in Mansfield, and the vast majority of those homes sold with the seller providing some concessions to the buyer. Do you have a question about your property taxes, homestead exemption, or new construction? Send me a message via email to info@aboutmansfield.com. For the About Mansfield podcast, I'm Beth Steinke with Century 21 Judge Fight.
Shaken or stirred, you know it's going to be good. But this week, Brian Certain puts away the recipes and offers up a history lesson in the cocktail of the week. Brian?
This week's cocktail of the week is the Dark and Stormy. The Dark and Stormy is a classic cocktail that originated in Bermuda in the early 20th century. The drink's history is closely tied to the island's rum production in the British Royal Navy. Gosling's, a Bermudian rum producer, began exporting its Black Seal rum to the United States in the late 1800s. The dark, rich rum became popular among American sailors and eventually made its way back to Bermuda. According to the legend, the Dark and Stormy was invented when a sailor combined Gosling's Black Seal rum with ginger beer, a popular drink among British sailors to combat seasickness. The sailor commented that the color of the drink reminded him of a cloud that only a fool or a dead man would sail under, giving rise to the name Dark and Stormy. The Dark and Stormy quickly gained popularity in Bermuda and eventually spread to other parts of the world, and today it's considered a classic cocktail and is enjoyed by rum enthusiasts and casual drinkers alike. But don't worry about taking notes. I'll always be giving the instructions and ingredients and posting them on bourbongospel.com. The ingredients: you need 2 ounces of Gosling's Black Seal rum. You'll need 3 to 4 ounces of a good ginger beer. If you've listened before, you know that Q ginger beer is my all-time favorite. You need a ½ ounce of fresh lime juice. Remember, fresh is best. And then lime wedges for garnish. Instructions. First, you're going to fill a highball glass with ice. Then you're going to pour the Black Seal rum over the ice. Then squeeze in the fresh lime juice. Top with ginger beer, pouring it slowly down the side of the glass to create a layered effect. Gently stir the drink to combine the ingredients slightly while preserving the layered appearance. Then garnish with a lime wedge on the rim of the glass. Gosling's is the Bermudian rum producer behind the iconic Black Seal rum, is known for its litigious approach to protecting the Dark and Stormy cocktail. The company has been involved in several legal battles to ensure that the drink is made exclusively with Gosling's and ginger beer. In the 70s, Gosling began actively promoting the Dark and Stormy as a trademark cocktail. The company asserted that the drink should only be served with Gosling's Black Seal rum and ginger beer, and they started taking legal actions against bars and restaurants that used other rums in their Dark and Stormy cocktails. One notable case occurred in 2009 when Gosling sued Pernod Ricard, the owner of Malibu rum. Pernod Ricard had published a recipe for a Malibu Tropical Storm, which Gosling claimed was a direct infringement on their Dark and Stormy trademark. The case eventually was settled out of court, with Pernod Ricard agreeing to stop using the Tropical Storm name and to respect Gosling's trademark. Gosling has also been involved in legal disputes with other rum producers and bar owners. And in 2015, Gosling sued a bar in New York City called the Dark and Stormy for trademark infringement. The bar owners claimed that the name was a reference to the weather and not the cocktail, but ultimately agreed to change the bar's name to avoid a prolonged legal battle. Gosling's aggressive approach to protecting the Dark and Stormy trademark has drawn criticism from some quarters of the bartending community, who argue that it stifles creativity and limits consumers' choice. However, Gosling maintains that they are about protecting the integrity of the Dark and Stormy, and it's essential to preserving the drink's heritage and ensuring that customers receive a consistent, high-quality experience. Despite legal controversies, the Dark and Stormy remains a beloved cocktail among rum enthusiasts and casual drinkers alike. Gosling's Black Seal rum, with its rich, dark flavor profile, is widely recognized as the key ingredient in creating an authentic Dark and Stormy experience. So the next time you're sipping your dark and stormy, take a moment to appreciate the drink's rich history and the role it's played in Bermuda's cultural identity. The cocktail's simple yet effective combination of flavors has made it a timeless classic that continues to be enjoyed by rum lovers around the world. As always, I'm open to hear your take and your input. You can reach me at brian@bourbongospel.com. And until next week, as Mark Twain said, too much of anything is bad, but too much whiskey is barely enough. Reporting for the About Mansfield podcast, I'm Brian Certain.
We're back in 60 seconds with Steve's interview with Dennis Webb.
Imagine a city where innovation knows no bounds, where dreams take flight, and the future unfolds before your very eyes. Welcome to Mansfield, a beacon of growth and a testament to vision. In the heart of Mansfield, a remarkable transformation is underway. But it's not just about the physical landscape. It's about the spirit that drives us forward. A spirit of collaboration that bridges cultures, a spirit of entrepreneurship that fuels prosperity, and a spirit of community that binds us as one. Mansfield is more than just a place. It's a canvas where diversity paints the picture of progress. From art festivals that ignite creativity to tech hubs that redefine boundaries, this city celebrates every voice, every passion. Mansfield, where growth knows no limits and the vision is limitless. Brought to you by the unstoppable spirit of the Mansfield Economic Development Corporation.
Hi, I'm Parker James and Caden Shea from the band Olivox, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to another segment of About Mansfield. I'm Steve Casillo as we make the transition from news to talk. And in the studio today, we had him in the studio about 3 or 4 weeks ago to talk about the solar eclipse. While he was here, he stuck around for a little while and told us a little bit about a nonprofit that he's working with and something that you may be interested in, especially if you like live music. It's Dennis Webb. He's in studio. Enjoy. What else have you been up to? I haven't seen you in, about a year and a half. You stopped your science segment back in early 2023.
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
Well, I'm a retired guy.
Yeah.
And I figured out when I was preparing is I got to have something that involves doing fun things with people I like. You don't have to do fun things with people you don't like. And so I built a list of things that I might do. You know, you work a 50-hour-a-week high-pressure job for decades. The energy has got to go somewhere beyond whiskey. And so I built a list of about 5 things. The first thing was I wanted to write some more astronomy books, and I did, and I'm kind of done with that now. I wanted to develop a confident singing voice and get comfortable performing music in front of people. And I've done that. I haven't improved in years, but I've made that work. I think the third one was watercolor, and I haven't done that yet.
Well, your wife is a tremendous artist. Is she helping with that?
Well, I have for 5 years. I've had a little kit of all the stuff I need.
Oh, okay.
But and there'll come a day when that's it. But so I thought, well, I've got a pretty good life, and 4 years ago, a friend in Fort Worth asked me to be on his nonprofit's board of directors. I said, Jeff, I don't know anything about nonprofits or board of directors, and it sounds like meetings, which I don't want meetings. And he said, I think you'll be helpful. And so, for a couple of years, I kind of went to the board meetings and helped make decisions and think about things. And then something clicked in me. I said, well, we're not a very good nonprofit. But I don't know why or how, and so I started researching, and we had fallen on hard economic times because our revenue model had changed, and we had never done the conventional things that nonprofits do to produce revenue. And in fact, there's this lovely Forbes article, The 10 Revenue Streams of Nonprofits. And so I've been busy trying to start those up. I did our first grant application in 25 years, and we got an operating grant. I'm waiting on the second grant application, and I'm trying to kick the hippies who run the music program to go out and get sponsorships. because that's actually bigger money.
Yeah.
But so I'm now an activist in a nonprofit, and I'm developing new skills because for years we had participated in nonprofit visual arts places, and the ones that survived had a grant writer who was always trying to push to get money in. And I had filed a note away that said, if I ever don't have anything to do, I'm a writer. I'm an old bureaucrat. I understand a complicated application. I can't do it at the last minute in a day before, but I can learn the lingo, and so it's been tremendously satisfying.
As a retiree.
As a retiree.
That's right. And as they say, a rolling stone gathers no moss.
Yes.
Which is why I don't see any moss gathering on Dennis Webb.
Well, I've been to the dermatologist in the last month.
There you go.
But it's I never thought about nonprofit stuff. Yeah. It had no appeal to me. I felt I was doing an altruistic thing by making space programs. But I encourage people with capable intellects who are looking for something to do to find a nonprofit. You have to embrace their mission to go through this. But I'm having a blast. In fact, I'm now working the early phases of asking for $500,000 to replace our roof.
Wow.
There are people and organizations who do stuff like that. I mean,
that give money for
you
stuff
have
like
no
that.
idea
Right.
how much nonprofit money is out there, and most of it is begging. This last grant application, the people who run it said, you did such a good job on the other one. Would you please apply for this? And there's some reasons why nobody's applying for it, so I'm hopeful.
But there are people out there that write grants for a living.
Yes.
And they just take a percentage of the grant.
I actually had a visit with one of those, a chance encounter at a party, and she had said she would help me, but she ghosted me. And what it was, she had quit because it was so frustrating. And so she's writing other things, and I knew that it was a thankless job because what it is, when you apply for a grant, they ask you questions. How many people, in our case, we're an event space, how many people come through your doors? Well, there's no button I can push to get that. So you just call people and say, okay, let me go look at the wedding contracts. Let me do this. And the demographics of your performers, well, most of us old white musician people, but it turns out we the nonprofit, which is Southside Preservation Hall. I'm allowed to advertise.
You can say it.
So a historic wedding and event venue. It's a 115-year-old church building in South Fort Worth. It's I'm working on a thing to sell this roof thing to say it's the second oldest surviving church sanctuary in Fort Worth.
Wow.
It may be, it may not be, but anyway, I'm doing the methodical research. But anyway, we have two local professional wrestling commercial enterprises that use our grand ballroom because the ballroom is really elegant and cool. And it's this marvelous low comedy. And they just love it, and we're completely accepting. They're extremely diverse to the point where they've had trouble booking places.
The Southside
Preservation Hall.
Preservation Hall.
The nonprofit has a slightly different name.
Do you recall when it was built?
The first building was built in 1909.
Wow.
And then between then and the 50s, it was originally the Central Methodist Church, which was one of the big, prosperous Methodist churches. Between 1909 and the 1950s, they added to the complex. It's 55,000 square feet of floor space, of which we've, in the 90s, managed to renovate 7,000, and it's enough to be a very capable event space.
Has it been categorized as a historic building?
Well, I thought that was an easy answer, and it's a little complicated. We don't have a National Register recognition, but Fairmount Historic District in the 1980s realized we have something special here in these 1920 suburban houses and some mansions and stuff. And so we are considered a contributing structure to the Fairmount Southside Historic District. And we have been, the county judged us in the 80s that depending upon the condition of the building, we were eligible for National Register. But that's a whole thing you got to go through.
That, and when you get that, then I would assume grants would be easier.
Because the state of Texas gives, it's complicated, gives some substantial grants for stuff like that. Mm-hmm. If you're renovating it as a commercial sustainable thing. And we had a consultant come look at it, and the only way you could service the debt, even with all the state money, state and federal money, is you got to rent out every square foot of the place.
Okay.
And you got to bring everything up to code. And right now, that's a multi-million-dollar project.
It's an old building.
It's a horrible old building. It was a money pit in 1960, which was when the church said we got to bail. Neighborhoods changed.
Oh, yeah.
The cute little starter houses were all shabby rental property, and they're in this gorgeous, massive campus out close to 820 and 20.
You mentioned two things. You mentioned it's an event center, but you also mentioned old white guys play music there.
Well,
I'm heading in that direction.
My founders, or the founders, who my friend Jeff, they rode this wave of preservation that said, "Oh my God, they're going to tear down this gorgeous building. We got to get it," and they ended up getting it for free, as long as they used it for the benefit of the community for 20 years, and they were able to meet those conditions. But Jeff's a musician. One of the first things he started there was Buddy's Big Band, which they had their 25th anniversary of a monthly big band show every first Friday of every month. And we've developed a fairly competent, almost all volunteer concert production. We do big shows in the big ballroom, and we have this gorgeous little chapel.
Do you play there?
They do song circles after some of the events. And
circles
after. I've played a couple of those this year.
That's when the old white guys get together.
Yeah. But also because of all the clubs, the music clubs shutting down across the Metroplex, we've developed a partnership with one of the major producers of those, and he's moved his shows into our place. And so we're burning out the volunteers. Please come to our website and volunteer.
Give the address.
1519 Lipscomb Street, Fort Worth, Texas, 76104. And it's south of downtown Fort Worth in the edge of the Fairmount Historic District, really close to Hemp Hill.
1519 Lipscomb Street.
Yeah.
There in South Fort Worth.
And we have a website that has calendar of upcoming events, and you can follow us on Facebook or Instagram.
Is the website listed on your brochure?
Why, yes, it is.
Well, tell the people where they can.
Yeah. I forget. I'm not a visual thing. Let's see. Southsidepreservation.com.
Southsidepreservation.com. And
you can donate. I've learned in nonprofit world, you always ask everyone you meet, hey, would you like to donate?
And to such a worthy cause, in this case, a historic building.
Well, I'm still grappling with that.
Yeah.
That we love the building. In fact, almost everybody who walks into it the first time says, "Oh my God." And we've done a really good job of renovating. The renovations, initially, it was in really bad shape when we got it because they were going to demolish it. And the previous owner had stripped the building of anything useful. And somebody in the original organizers had the idea that, we can use community service restitution labor. That's where if you get sentenced to a misdemeanor in Tarrant County, you get 60 hours community service. Well, there's a whole apparatus that you file with the county and say, we would like community service restitution.
Sure.
And some of those people were tremendous craftsmen at renovating the interior as well as dealing with menial tasks of hauling junk out and stuff. And there were a number of cases where people finished their minimum hours, and they said, I'm going to come back and finish. So it was there was several years where this nonprofit was the second largest user of community service restitution labor after the county itself.
Wow.
It's a magical story, and it's still a money pit.
And people are voluntarily extending their sentence because
that's an anecdote I've been told.
Okay.
We had to shut down the community service restitution during COVID.
Sure.
And that started it continued to decline. We're kind of digging out.
Well, Dennis, I've mentioned this to you before. I'm going to mention it now on the record. You always have an open door whenever you want to come back as our roving science reporter. That door, as I mentioned, is open. But I know you're busy as a retiree, and so we would understand.
Well, I hadn't planned to quit. Back in January 2023, I had some horrible viral thing. And there was something going around because my doctor couldn't see me because their office was shut down for a week, and so we don't know what it was. But it apparently killed my thyroid. And for about 3 months, I was struggling to just kind of get through normal days. And so, I recognized it, said, hey, I'm going on sabbatical. And then by the time I got better and thinking about it, because I enjoyed the stuff, it was always fun to think, what am I going to talk about this week? And, you can find things. Yeah. And but then I got deep into this. I got 10 things I need to go home and work on tonight. So, it's there. I appreciate the
It's up to you. When you're ready to go back in the closet, just let me know. We'll make room for you. And I appreciate it. Thank you for everything that you've done for us in the past. Thank you for the information on the South Side Ballroom.
Thank you for letting me promote. Everybody go to the website and donate $20.
Thanks for being on About Mansfield. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
Coming up next week on About Mansfield, Steve is back from vacation and we'll talk in studio with Mrs. Mansfield and her quest to become Mrs. Texas. In the meantime, this is the place where you will hear the latest Mansfield news, talk, and information. Until then, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share, love, or support this podcast if you haven't already, so you never miss an episode. It's free and easy. Just enter your email address on our website, aboutmansfield.com. We will never send you any spam. We promise.
About Mansfield is recorded at Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio. Hosts Steve Casillo and Colleen Daniel. Moment with the Mayor feature, Michael Evans. Methodist Mansfield News to Know, Angel Biasatti. Mansfield Real Estate Market Update, Beth Steinke. Cultural Arts Calendar, Tim Roberts. Cocktail of the Week, Brian Certain. Post-production editing, mixing, and mastering, Steve Casillo and Andrew Miner.
This podcast is copyrighted by Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this podcast without written consent is prohibited. Thanks for listening. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Marilyn Hyder, and this is About Mansfield.